So nice little section here, benefits of being an entrepreneur or entrepreneurs in general. So this is what lots of entrepreneurs have stated the benefits of being an entrepreneur for them. So interesting to see money, 71%. So job satisfaction being the highest one. Move on. So you need to be able to define the term entrepreneur, you need to be able to list characteristics of entrepreneurs and explain why the UK government wants to encourage entrepreneurs. So what is an entrepreneur to begin with? So remember back to that presentation when we're looking at what businesses are, that we looked at the 4 factors of production: land, labour, capital and enterprise, and we said that you need enterprise because without enterprise the other 3 things don't get organised. So an entrepreneur is someone who takes an idea and makes it commercially viable. So they organise the other resources of the business and they innovate and they take risks to be able to receive rewards. So some nice videos here about Richard Branson and Anita Roddick about their own experiences of setting up the businesses and how they went about it and why they did it in the first place and the experience that they had. But what's quite interesting is to think about, what characteristics or traits do entrepreneurs have in common? And obviously, lots of entrepreneurs are quite different from each other, but these are some of the traits of entrepreneurs that we'd say that you'd have to be quite determined, because it is going to be hard work setting up a business. You've got to be quite single-minded and hard-working, extrovert. So you're going to have to speak to a lot of different external stakeholders, so you've got to be quite confident in your own ability. Charismatic, lovely term to describe somebody. That term means they've got a certain kind of quality about them that's very appealing, very attractive. They've got a can-do attitude, so they're positive, and clever as well. It might not be necessarily, intellectually clever like Einstein clever, but it's quite clever in terms of the ideas that they've thought of for the business or how they've developed it or made something better. So why become an entrepreneur in the first place? I'm sure there's lots of reasons, but often it's, lots of students say, well, you get to keep all the profits. And yeah, that's true. But when you speak to entrepreneurs, it's often not the driving force behind it. Often they're really passionate about an idea. So when you hear James Dyson speak, he's just so passionate about his technologies that he's developed. And he obviously for years had to persevere with it. So you'd have to be passionate, you'd have to be really determined. Maybe they want control over decisions, maybe control of the working day. Maybe they've worked for another organisation before and it's been quite similar, but they think, I'm ready to lead this on my own, I'm ready to kind of break free and do it my way. Or maybe they've been to their boss, they said, I've got this great idea, and the boss doesn't want to take it on, and they're so single-minded, they're so kind of convinced that this idea is going to be the best thing, that the only way they can get it started is by starting their own business. This was a nice little article that appeared in FHM. Not that I read FHM, but I was, if I just flick forward, I'll explain it a little bit better. This is a past paper that came from one of the Welsh Board exams, one of the earliest exams, 2009, I think it's set, with Neil Dutson. So I googled him and I came across this nice story from FHM, so you can probably Google him and still get this story up. But it goes through kind of him and comparing him to a fishmonger as well, and it's quite a nice story about what entrepreneurs have to go through to get set up. But the good thing in this is that they both work really, really hard, so it's not an easy life, it's a really, really difficult thing to do, but there's obvious rewards, payoffs for them. So why does the government like entrepreneurs? Why do they like to encourage them? Well, they create jobs. So usually when you set up a business, you need people to work for you, or you're going to demand raw materials. So my dad's a sole trader himself. He's the graphic designer. He doesn't actually employ anybody, but he does create jobs because he when he's doing design projects, he has to go to the suppliers and get ink for printers, and he also has to go to kind of web domain companies and demand kind of domains so he can set up websites and those types of things. So it creates jobs in other companies, not just their own. When they earn money, they have to pay taxes, so obviously it's government revenue. It's good to create competition in the market, as we will see when we look at monopolistic competition. This creates better quality, or it should do, and it also puts downwards pressure on prices, which is good for consumers. You might be able to sell some of these products abroad, which creates export earnings for the country. So money flowing into the UK economy can help grow your economy. So in terms of GDP, that's gross domestic product, and that's good. And you may get new ideas, innovations, new products, things that make our lives, better. My husband loves cleaning, and I think he would agree that his Dyson Animal is amazing, and that has improved his life significantly. I'm happy for him. How does the government encourage entrepreneurs then? How do they like to encourage them? So patents, they grant patents or patents, so intellectual property rights, so protection over ideas basically, so that other people can't copy you for a set amount of time. They provide grants for set-up companies and for research and development as well, to develop new ideas. They might have tax relief for start-up businesses. They do provide some funding or mentoring programs from other businesses that can help and advise. So again, advice. The government have quite a good website actually, giving lots of advice for new businesses, and it's quite easy to follow. And they may give help with business plans as well through kind of business angels. So lots of ways that they encourage you. So in what ways does Neil Dutson exhibit the characteristics of a typical entrepreneur for 6 marks? This was a question a while ago. The other questions on entrepreneurs have been why does the UK government want to encourage them? So you're thinking back to that other spider diagram. But let's have a look through this. Neil Dutson left school with no qualifications. Now, you often find that quite successful entrepreneurs leave school without any qualifications. So you could highlight that and then say that is a factor. You need to relate it. Richard Branson didn't. I think he has some qualifications, but I don't think he has many formal qualifications. So I'd always had a passion for diamonds. So that word passion there. When I was 18, I bought a book on gemology. He searched the internet and found a school in Antwerp that ran a 6-month course. He mortgaged his flat and took out £50,000 equity to pay. That's quite a risky thing to do. So I've got a lot of risk there, a lot of dedication. It's not just like a flippant kind of thing like, oh, should I go on holiday? It's a big decision that he's made there, mortgaging his flat. I loved it at the weekends. I travelled around Europe going into jewellery shops pretending I was getting engaged. So that's like kind of going above and beyond, isn't it? Working very, very hard there. Dutson's first client was friends that are getting engaged. Without funds to buy stock, he adopted the innovative approach. So he's very innovative, of showing potential customers a selection of fakes in every single cut and shape of diamond, and only when they'd chosen and paid a deposit would he buy the real diamond. The diamond was then passed on to a jeweller to be made into a ring. So quite innovative, quite clever way of reducing your cash outgoings and only having them when you need to. So lots and lots of things highlighted there. Only a 6-mark question then, so you just take each one of these and you can explain why that is an example of the typical characteristics of an entrepreneur. So define the term entrepreneurs. They innovate, they take risks, they organise the other factors of production within the business, they set up new businesses, they make ideas commercially viable. Characteristics of entrepreneurs: hardworking, single-minded, determined, clever, extrovert. Explain why the UK government wants to encourage entrepreneurs. They provide jobs, they pay tax revenue, they can create export revenue for the government. They also make the UK look very good, very advanced, good image, and they encourage competition in the market, which should improve quality and reduce prices.